Nice guys finish last. We've all heard that one 1,000 times. And probably the reason we've heard it 1,000 times is we've seen it 1,000 times. And as a nice guy, I've experienced it thousands of times. But here's what I've learned. I've learned that nice guys don't necessarily have to finish last. There's some things that you can do to offset some of the negative impacts of being a nice guy without giving up your nice guyness. And that's the key. Because really the last thing this world needs is for nice guys to become not so nice. Now, let me go ahead and give you a few tips on how to make yourself more respectable to the world as a nice guy. So the first thing you can do is you can build up your upper body. You don't have to look like a bodybuilder, but if you can get some arms and some pecs and get a decent build, that alone will give you a psychological advantage in life, and it'll keep people less prone to preying on you as a nice person. So that's one thing you can do. Now, the second thing you can do is you can basically just become a relentless person. Because one of the things that I've found in life is that if you're a nice guy, if you're an easygoing person, but yet you also are going to pursue what you want until you get it or die trying, that's going to be a threat to the egos of a lot of people. So the nice guy who is also extremely determined, hardworking, willing to grind, going to smash down obstacles in his way, the world doesn't really know what to do with a person like that. And so what do? They back off. So that's just another thing you can do to give yourself an advantage. And then the third thing, and this is kind of a shallow thing and a facade really, but one of the things you can do is to adopt the mean mug scowl. Now, I used to have to do this. I used to work in a little bit of a sketchy part of town, and when I'd go out to get my coffee in the morning, there were a lot of people out there that you could just tell were looking for somebody to harass, to pick on. But I found that if I walked down the street with a mean mug scowl, kind of like, giving that serious, don't mess with me look, it was very effective. Because if you don a certain look, people are going to be less likely to approach you. And I never got approached. So other people getting approached, but I wore a look that said, don't you dare approach me. And people didn't. So that's one of the things you can do is to, adopt what I call the mean mug scowl as needed in public. You don't want to walk through life like that all the time. But when you're in situations where there are people that are looking for easy prey, that's one of the things you can do to quickly make yourself less vulnerable. In fact, you might actually be intimidating towards those folks. So that said, those are 3 things you can do to give yourself a bit of an advantage of a nice guy. And this idea that nice guys finish last, it is absolutely bogus. Absolutely bogus. If you're a nice guy, just continue being a nice guy. Just adopt a little bit more mental toughness, maybe a little physical toughness, wear the scowl as needed. You'll give yourself an advantage. But don't ever, ever give up your kindness. Sometimes in life, when life isn't going well for us, it's really so easy to just throw in the towel and think, well, I just need to quit being such a nice guy. I need to become a bigger, the D word. But you don't want to do that. There's no reason for that. Kindness is a gift in this world. Niceness is an absolute gift. And so don't ever, ever, ever stop being nice just because the world is cruel. Rather, just work on yourself in other ways and continue your niceness. Like I said, if you do that, the world will not know what to do with you. And so you'll be left alone.